Okay, namaste. I wanted to clear something up again this morning having to do with the so-called critique of my path. Yesterday, the person in question was saying, hey boys, do you have to wrestle back there? Like two brothers wrestling. Look at this, troublemakers. Sorry about that. I'll try to ignore the wrestling back here. But anyway, the critique was that, this path is a Kundalini path. Okay, and her critique was thinking that they had the name Vajra in the title, that she just, put on Yana, but the name of this path is not Vajrayana. Again, it's Vajra Nirvana. Totally different. Okay, but the spin was, that I want to address this morning, was that Buddha didn't say anything about Kundalini. Kundalini is not in Buddhism at all. Well, it is in Buddhism. Okay? There are the Tibetans. If you've ever lived in India and you've been up to visit the Tibetan communities, you would know there are many different factions in the Buddhist communities. Okay, so, if you are up there with Tibetans, they have practicing some modalities and paths that are practicing paths and some that are intellectual. The intellectual paths, they study scriptures all day, they sit and debate them, but there's very little practical practice done within them. Okay? Then they have the other Tibetans. Okay, the more towards the tantric side of Tibetans that do have Kundalini as part of their practices. Okay? You can find the videos about them. I don't know if they have on YouTube, but they have one where they show they're supposedly secret and they're the only ones that have Kundalini, and if it goes with them, it goes, which is again another fallacy, but something they want to promote, where you see this monk sitting there, jumping up and down and slamming down, on the thing. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to awaken Kundalini by this action of hitting. And sometimes it can be woken by a sudden jolt. Okay, so I understand what he's trying to do. But again, to have a notion that there is no Kundalini in Buddhism is again a fallacy. Okay? So yes, in fact, there are some Buddhist traditions which do encourage and understand Kundalini. Okay? Not all of them do. Okay? So, again, if people come in and they have these closed minds and they hear one word and this is why a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Your mind is closed, you hear one thing, you go off on a tangent without having the whole of the situation or the whole of reality. Okay? So I'm also going to address something this morning, those that say, and I've had many of those that say, Ramana never, said Kundalini was necessary for anything. Well, again, that's not true. Absolutely not. Ramana knew, and he did say, that whether one is sitting, and doing the neti whatever, that Kundalini does rise, and it's needed because Kundalini is synonymous with the self, okay? With that self, okay? So anyway, this morning I will go through the finally found last evening. The one book that I know, oh, that was good, I just broke something. The one book that I know, Ramana speaks about Kundalini. So I have to dredge out those verses so that I can, in fact, again, dispel these wrong notions that people come here with and want to start proclaiming, you know. So again, you know, I will give the book, I will give the pages that they can look it up for themselves. Okay? But yes, no, Ramana did not teach Kundalini, but Ramana, in fact, any of those that have, you know, gotten to realization usually have had Kundalini awakening somewhere along the line. Okay? Even though they didn't speak about it. Krishnamurti's another one, in fact, not Yuji, but Jiddu Krishnamurti. If you read some of his book, his diary thing, he will talk in it about the Kundalini. It was so difficult. But when he gave his talks, he never spoke about it. Okay? So again, you know, huge misunderstanding that people have about it. You know, that's like my guru. Okay? My guru doesn't usually speak about Kundalini. Yes, he had Kundalini awakening. Yes, he is a realized master. Yes, he went through all that. But he chose not to speak about Kundalini because there is so many mistaken notions now about it. With chakras and lights and focusing here and focusing there and all this drama. Okay? So that's why I have my students and I'll take that on and help people with Kundalini. Somebody has to do it to help them to move forward with their Kundalini awakenings, okay? But yes, one is doing, whether one is doing active meditation of neti, whatever, you know, that type of a practice, yes, Kundalini will awaken. It's not only done through, you know, people think you do some yoga and heavy pranayama and all this nonsense, breath of fire, and they're trying to teach these yoga classes and trying to say that it's Kundalini yoga, and it's such a misnomer. Kundalini yoga is not Kundalini. Okay? Again, another misnomer. So many of them out there, mistaken notions. Okay? So I'm going to leave this here, and I'm going to go through and mark the places where Ramana is indeed speaking about Kundalini, and so that I can impart that to you to clear up again mistaken notions that people want to come here with. Okay? I don't know why I have to spend more time clarifying things than actually getting to speak on topics, because again, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. People hear one little thing and they construe it something else, and then they're off on a jaunt, and it just gets so skewed that you're wondering, where did they get this from? Okay. So, namaste, I'm going to end this here, and go ahead and go through here and mark the things, and then I will speak about that a little later. Okay, namaste, have a great morning.